Yeah, that's right. I see the chat. I see y'all rocking. I see y'all coming. Hit that like button as you enter the building. You know what I'm saying? Hit that like button. Show your love. Show your support. You know what I'm saying? This that dope soul. This that new thing. Nobody don't know about it.
Salute, Knick family. Welcome to the Just Nickin' It weekly show. I'm your host, Stephanie, a.k.a. Queen. I'm joined by I Am Jerrell, AJ the Villain, Delusional Knick fan, and we may have a few other guests with us tonight. Training camp has started. I tell you, the Knicks played into late May, and you would have this offseason seemed longer than when we was in the lottery and stopped playing in April, I tell you. But anyway, we're back. We're going to talk about training camp. I have some clips for you, and we'll comment on that. We'll talk about Sham's report that not only will Malcolm Brogdon make the team, but it seems like he'll, from what he's hearing, will be a part of the rotation and what that means to other guys' minutes, if anything. We'll talk about, Josh Hart. Yeah, a lot to talk about today. Hit the like button when you come into the building. Appreciate you guys that's already in the chat, the silent listeners, the replay gang, those on Twitter. Y'all know what it is. We appreciate you. Jerrell, AJ, Delusional. How you doing today?
What up? What up? Salute to the chat. Salute to all the members. Y'all already know.
I am good to be back. I missed last week's show. And
Yes,
always happy to
we
be
missed
here.
you
Talk
too.
about the Knicks. We're like very close. We're like 1 week away from the first game.
We are.
Yes.
Anytime I get to talk Knicks with the family here, I'm excited on Dope Soul. So let's get to it.
Yeah. And don't let the name Delusional fool you. His takes are good. He's on point. He's an optimistic
Very.
Knick fan, but he's reasonable as well. So I get on him sometimes, but I definitely respect his opinion.
But he is sometimes delusional.
I'm about to say, he at least 33, 35%.
He is sometimes.
I would say a little bit
I mean-
more, but that's being modest. I appreciate that. Jerrell. I appreciate that.
But you know what I meant to say to you last week, when you said that the Knicks will have a top 10 deep. Listen, Freezy from Bronze Tier said the same thing. He said he thought the Knicks defense would be top 10. I thought he was delusional too, but he did say it. So you're not alone in
Not
the
alone.
thinking that the Knicks will have a top 10 defense. Shout out to Lee Escobedo, Nick of Time. Watch out for that collaboration. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it will be next Monday. I didn't respond, Lee. I think you said 8:45. If you did, that definitely works for me. It's been a busy day, but that'll be next week, Wednesday. So it should be on both channels. So yeah, definitely check us out. I'm looking forward to that. Jay Ellis, Ebony, Lee, and Fritz. And I'm missing one. Lee, I'm missing one. Let me know who I'm missing. Who actually got me thinking. You guys had a great show last night. Got me thinking about some things. But anyway, let's get into it. Before I start playing clips, is there anything just overall about what's been coming out of training camp or what's come out of content day that you want to touch on briefly and add to the show? Basically, if I don't have it already, we could talk about it more.
You were talking about like who we think going to be the fifth starter and stuff. We're going to go through that.
Yes.
All right, so I'll bring that up then. It was one
Okay.
little piece of video that I saw, or a still shot that I saw that people were talking about. We could talk about that later, but it has to do with the fifth starter.
Okay. All right. Cool. Ajay, anything particular?
Well, that I know that exactly that still shot that Jerrell is talking about.
Okay.
So yeah, we definitely we're gonna bring that later. Yeah, and well, I think you're gonna talk about what the little bit of concern that I have. So I don't want to be like too preemptive, and but
Okay.
we'll get to it when we get to it. I could see it because I could see the video in the background, listed there.
Okay.
The clip,
Okay.
you can see the clip.
Okay. Okay. Delusional?
No, let's get into it. No.
Let's get into it. All right. So let's just start with This is something we've talked about a lot. They've talked about it. The Knick community has talked about it as well. So let's play this clip. Let's see. We might be off the stage when let's see how it does. Oh, that's not the right one. How did that one get up there? Huh. Remove. Oh.
You know, he seems like he's a versatile player, and the biggest thing that I want to do for him is try to get him, as well as everybody else, easy shots. And one of the easiest shots in the game of basketball is a spray three. I'm a big proponent of touching the paint, and spraying that basketball for a catch and shoot three. And so within what we do, we're going to try to get him a lot of those situations. On top of that, you know, if you do touch the paint, whether it's on the dribble drive or on a cut, if it's on the dribble drive, when you touch the paint and you get off of it, we want you to keep moving. And again, the little bit that we've seen so far in Jalen during these optional workouts, he seems like he's embraced it. Because you have to be in great condition in order to play this way. But he seems like he's embraced it, and I'm looking forward to seeing if we can continue to try to find ways, especially when we start playing games, that we try to find ways to get him some easy catch and shoot looks, because the ball will be in his hands, especially down the stretch. And so to make the game easier throughout the course of the game is going to be a big thing.
Yeah. Thoughts on that? I know that's something the fan base has talked about, and we've talked about it here as well. Hold on, wait a minute. Is that all right now, Geoff? We were a little worried about you. How you doing?
Well, my Wi-Fi quit working at my house. I had to run up to the church so I could get online. I don't know what. I have time to troubleshoot it right now. I've been having trouble. I had it on Monday. It was not working right, and it was working for a few days, and then right about 30 minutes before showtime, it decided it was going to quit. So,
You the man, Geoff. You the man.
I would say Geoff changed locations to be on the show. You the real MVP, man.
He get them McHale numbers. He can't miss a game, and we appreciate that. You the Iron Man. We love it.
That's great, Delusional. I love
Gotta
that.
love it.
I appreciate it. I definitely understand that. All right, so I don't know if you heard the clip we played. You probably saw it anyway. Of Mike Brown talking about getting Jalen Brunson some easy looks in the offense, and basically easy looks for everyone. And the ball will definitely be in his hand in the fourth quarter. So as easy as he can make it for him throughout the course of the game, I take it that he'll be that much more fresh. Jerrell, just your thoughts on that?
Okay. I guess it's just music to everybody's ears. That's what a lot of people, or most people, I should say, that are fans of the Knicks have been waiting for. Like, we want Jalen Brunson to not have the ball in his hand 100% of the time. Hopefully he'll be fresher towards the end of the game in the fourth quarter. Obviously he's going to have the ball in his hands, like you said. And, maybe Mike Brown be watching the show. I don't know. Like I said, everybody on the show, plus everybody in the chat, thinks this is a good thing. I don't think anybody wants Jalen Brunson to have the ball more than he has it. So I think this is a positive aspect of how we're going to run our offense all the way around.
Yeah, I agree with that. Ajay?
Oh, yeah, I definitely think it's a positive. And like you said, Queen, the fan base have been screaming for that. Even though Tibbs did watch the show, but for some reason he just wasn't listening to us. But we did tell him how to run this, But it's definitely it's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be really, really good to see what offense look like when we play that way. So I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait, man. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to the new to see what's going on. Is he running sets that way? Is he what's gonna be happening? The way Mike Brown's going to be running his offense with all the movement, with the, with the backdoor cuts. And then you got to remember the players have to adjust to that. Right.
Right.
And training camp is only but a couple of weeks, so it's gonna take a little time. And so the fan base, please just be a little patient. It's gonna take time for them to adjust to what Mike Brown's gonna be bringing. I know they're professional basketball players, but still, when you're used to playing a certain way, and then you have a new coach coming with new schemes, with a new playbook, it takes a little time to adjust to it. So I'm excited. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, I'm like, how is he gonna make it happen? Like for Brunson to be off ball, what are the many ways he's gonna do it? Is that Brogdon? Is that Cat? Is that Bridges? So I'm looking for the how. Geoff?
Yeah, I'm excited about it. I think that really is leaning into this team's strength. And like one of the things that I think when you have a head coach that's new, I always want to see him. There's a lot of coaches who say, this is my system. This is the way I'm going to run it. It's my way or the highway, irrespective of what kind of talent they have on the roster. I kind of like that. He's like, hey, let's play to the talent that's on the roster. Let's maximize the strengths. Obviously, this is a much better offensive group than it is a defensive group. And so I'm excited to see what they look like, especially in the open court. But I think that they'll excel, and I don't think it's going to take a long time to adjust. Like, I think these are basic offensive concepts that play to these guys' strengths, in my opinion. Like, I think Mikal Bridges is a strong cutter. I think that OG Anunoby is a strong cutter. It's a lot of that Princeton stuff. I think it's a lot of it is second nature to a lot of these guys. So. And we've got a lot of good shooters. So from those standpoints, I don't know that there's going to be that. I think offense can come quicker than defense because I just think that's the natural progression of things in the league. I don't really have an explanation for it, except maybe the defense is more complicated. I don't know, or maybe it's just that you have the ball in your hand, so you get to attack and you don't have to react. That makes it that way, but I would like to see what combinations of players he uses and how he maximizes our offensive strengths, which are numerous.
Yeah. I'm interested in that too. We'll get that chance Thursday. Yeah, I'm not sure how much he's going to show Thursday, but we'll see some of it. Delusional?
I'm ultra excited about this season. I've been itching for a high octane offense with this unit, and don't want to take Tibbs for granted. Early in the season, we were running phenomenal sets. We ran floppy a lot that got Jalen open for quick corner threes, which kind of later on kind of phased out. We ran a lot of horn action, so I was excited about that. That's when we were dominating. Then of course later on, I don't know what phased out, but with Mike Brown, it looks like he's pushing that consistency with that pace. Now granted, they're just running laps, and we saw videos of these guys sprinting, running laps, and we got excited. That's how crazy we're feeling about this season in general. So just seeing what he can bring from an offensive standpoint, unity, cohesiveness, lots of cut, Princeton offense. Like Geoff said, these are basic offense that all NBA teams should be running to get, clear cut, easy baskets. Don't make it harder on ourselves. Let's get these easy baskets. But ultimately, I'm elated to see, especially what he mentioned something regarding the offense. Hopefully I'm not jumping the gun. Really quickly, was automatic reads and conceptual plays without
that's the next one, but go ahead.
Okay, but then boom.
No, go ahead.
Then,
No, go ahead.
Go.
That's gonna lead us. That's gonna lead us right into it. That's gonna be a good segue. Go right ahead.
So it's pretty much having these guys knowing what to do when the ball is inbound, not necessarily when you bring it up and figure it out. You can look and see what the defense is doing and automatically know what play you're about to run. That's something that I've been itching to get into. You should know automatically if Cat is bringing the ball up, OG should know where he's at. Brunson should know where he's at. Mikal should know just off the rip from pretty much them practicing and knowing from certain spots. That's what Golden State did. That's what San Antonio, that's what Chicago did. Like, that's what all these elite teams done to where they excel. So I'm praying this can be a situation with that. I'm sorry to jump the
Yeah.
gun.
No, that's totally fine. And he said it himself, it's going to take some time, so, you know, a lot of it is going to depend on the IQ of these guys. And from what I've seen, I do think I don't know about every single one of them, but I think they have enough high IQ guys. But again, the more you practice it, because it's really about being able to know, but also where you're supposed to be, but also to read. If the defense, does something different, you got to be able to adjust to that. So let's just get into that. That clip, I think it's this one.
Our staples are really important for us, starting with pace, spacing, paint touches, quick decisions, ball reversals. Those things are extremely important with us. Now you take it a step further, and in our early offense, we have what we call our automatics. And our automatics are basically reads if the ball goes this way and the body goes that way, then that tells the next player you got to go this way or that way. And so to play conceptually without calls, in my opinion, is to your advantage because the defense doesn't know what's coming. You have a couple of different options you can do every time the ball moves or somebody else moves, and it's your choice. And if you're doing it with pace, with the floor space very well, we become hard to guard. So implementing that's going to take a little bit of time. We're going to play out of that quite a bit in the preseason. It's even going to get frustrating for the players because they're going to see matchups and they're just going to want the ball in this guy's hands or that guy's hands and want to go score. But the preseason for us, again, like everything, but the preseason more importantly, is a step-by-step process. And we don't want to skip any steps, even if it means, slowing down with our development a little bit. So laying that foundation of our concepts so that we can play freely within the concepts is going to be the first step for us offensively.
I love that.
140 a game. I'm sold.
Yeah, I love that. It sounds good.
NBA history. We hadn't even rolled the ball out yet.
Yeah.
Delusional, and only allowing 95 a game too, right? With that top 5 defense we're gonna have.
Oh no, league average 101. 101. You get free throw here and there too. Last second heaves, we count those.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, I think, like he said, it's going to take some time to get there. Some players may have to change their habits a little bit, particularly Brunson. Yeah, all right. Just your thoughts on that. I have thoughts on the Brunson thing, but I'll come back. I'll come back to it. Geoff, your thoughts on it? Jerrell, Ajay, then Delusional.
Well, it sounds good, but let's see what it looks like on the court. As a Jets fan, Aaron Glenn said all the right things in the preseason, sounded great, and then you're 0-3 anyway. So, what difference that it's all just platitudes and talk, and it's meaningless, right? It's one thing to say those things, and they all sound good, and they all get us excited. Until you see them in action, then it's a little bit, you know what I mean? It's coach speak until then. And I'm not saying that he's wrong or that anything that he said was bad. I'm just saying that, actions speak louder than words as far as I'm concerned. So I want to see what it looks like as opposed to hear what it sounds like, because anybody can make it sound good. All these guys know their stuff, like if you're a head coach. So
yeah, I mean, I think it's player buy-in too. Habits are hard to break. So let's see. Everybody's always excited the first, training camp, first few days. We get to game 35, game 36. Are you going to go into your old habits? If things stop working, I should say, or you hit a rough patch, you tend to revert back to, to old habits. So, let's see. One of the specific questions I have is 2 questions. He wants to run and gun and pace and space. How do you do that with Mitchell Robinson in the lineup? And number 2, what does this mean for Jalen Brunson? Can Jalen, like I think Jalen Brunson could be just as effective off the ball than he is on the ball. But I think he's most effective on the ball. So it's going to be interesting to see how he performs and how he takes to this. But let's just start with, you know, running, pace, and space, and different lineups. How does that, or how can that work? Delusional, we'll start with you.
I think it can work because the first instant in the fast break is obviously the outlet pass. So JB don't necessarily has to be that first person, up front. I know when he mentioned it, he talked about the corners, right? So for us, it would have to be our bigs hitting that floor fast. So Mitch, it would have to be Yabusele, these guys running that paint, drawing in the defense. And then, of course, you mentioned his wings on the corner, them getting out there. So that's OG and Mikal. That's Clarkson getting on the wings, or it could even be Brunson as well. So I think I can't see it happening all the time, but like you said, you allow the defense to kind of dictate that. And I think there's always time to attack. And then, of course, it's time to pace it, bring it up slowly, get a set play here and there. But I think it can happen. Not everybody's going to be playing long minutes. You're going to be utilizing the bench more as well. So you can take that into factor, especially with Josh. If Josh know that, hey, I possibly could come out, I'm going to give you my all during that time period. So JB can possibly put in an extra running here and there, knowing that, hey, I can get a breather during this time period. I don't have to exert all my energy here and there. And the offense, we might be up, or if we're down, then of course we can adjust. But I think this team is built to play any style of offense or defense that we need to win. It's just all about adjusting to our opponents. But I think we could definitely play faster pace. Even with JB, he played off ball with Luka at a point in time. So have him trailing. They're gonna have to stick with him. So that's one less person that's can trap or assist in a double team. So there's ways of utilizing that. I can see it happen.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely see that in terms of early offense. I don't see where or fast break where Mitch or a cat hurts that, right? Because they can trail the play. Like into your point,
But
Mitch
they
can
can
rim
lead it
run,
too. I think they can lead it as well.
lead the break, like dribble the ball up and
No,
lead the
meaning
break.
like they're the first person that's
Oh,
like if
I
they're
see.
not grabbing the rebound, they can
Okay,
kind of
yes,
outlet out. Usually it's the guard because they're in
right,
the front court, so that
right.
usually outlets out. But I think if we got Cat and Mitch down there, one is rebounding, other one is trailing quickly.
Yeah, yeah. I think my thing with the pace and space is once you get into half court, because pace and space is not just about fast breaking. It's about ball movement, player movement in that half court, and I think lineups is going to makes a difference. I think if you have a McBride in a lineup, you can pace and space more, in my opinion, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. The chat as well, replay gang always. Than if you have Mitch in the lineup. Now, I'm not saying, now don't get me
Right.
wrong, I am not saying the Knicks cannot be successful with Mitchell Robinson in the lineup. Everybody in the league does not play 5 out, right? All the championships that has been won has not been won with 5 out, right? So I'm not saying Mitch can't the Knicks can't win and be successful with Mitchell Robinson in the lineup. But I mean, he's talking about space and pace in the half court with player movement, ball movement. I'm interested to see how that works with Mitchell Robinson, and I'm not even so concerned about Mitch being able to score. So, like have an offensive game, as much as I'm concerned about Mitch's ability to move the ball along when he gets it. Because when you talk about ball movement and player movement, everybody who touches the ball, you hitting a cutter, you making a quick pass to keep the defense in. Like that's my concern. I'm not even concerned. I'm just wondering how that's going to look. Ajay, any thoughts on on the offense that Mike Brown wants to play, and which lineups are more suited to it than others?
Well, Queen, I mean, you're concerned with Mitch, I guess. I mean, as you said, because you're concerned about him being able to move the ball. I I'm not concerned about him being able to move the ball at all. If we watch Mitch play, I mean, that's actually he just have to learn to pass the ball right. But one thing he does is get rid of the ball as soon as he's always looking to get rid of the ball. So now they have he has to figure out how to most 90% of the time it's like a handoff with him, with the cutter, whoever's, but he has to learn how to make that short pass sometime to the cutter, like the way Cat does it, or not just wait for somebody to come get the ball. He's always looking to get rid of the ball, especially if he's not under the basket, right? So I'm not concerned at all. Not as much as I think you are concerned about him not being able.
It's not necessarily getting rid of the ball. Here. No, but they're not necessarily getting rid of the ball. It's about reading, just making good reads in terms of passing. I think he's fine on the dribble handoffs. I think if the ball swings back around to him that second time around, I think that's where things may slow down.
Slow down
a bit as he looks to see, make a decision. But okay.
I see the concern, but listen, again, that's what training camp is for. They'll work it out. It's not going to happen overnight, especially he's been playing that way for I don't know how many years, but I think they'll adjust. I think they'll adjust, fairly quickly.
All right. Jerrell, just your thoughts in general about the offense, how Mike Brown wants to play, and which lineups kind of lend themselves to that?
I kind of agree with Delusional and yourself, what you was talking about, how the concerns with Mitch. But I do think we're talented enough to play any way that Mike Brown wants to play. But when it comes to the concerns with the fast pace and space and stuff, I don't think I'm worried about Brunson and Cat, but they've never been on a team that played like that though. I don't remember the last time I seen Brunson or Cat playing an offense like that. Like when they were in Dallas and Minnesota, that weren't their offenses there either. So I guess just like we was talking about in the last segment, you would have to wait and see it. I think obviously they're talented enough for it to be successful, but until I see it, then yeah, I'm going to have a little concerns about that because I've never seen, especially Cat. I know we have concerns about Mitch running the floor, just because offensively he's a little limited. But when it comes to Cat, is he in shape enough to do that for a long period of time? And how situational is this going to be?
He can always trail though.
All the
Cat
time?
can always trail.
You don't need him trailing. You don't need him trailing.
We'll see though.
Queen, and him trailing is not the problem, but the way Cat plays, right? I think a couple of shows ago we expressed that concern when he drives to the basket. 8 or 7 or 8 out of 10 times he ends up on the floor, right? By the time he gets up, he's seriously trailing. It's like he's not even in the play at all. So if they run and gun the other way, there's no Cat. There's not going to be any Cat for a good 7-8 seconds the time he gets up and join the rest of the team. So they're going to have to read that and know when to run that, when Cat's on the floor trying to get up and the offense is going the other way. So he'll be able to run the floor, but he's still going to be behind. He's still going to be lagging.
Couple things to think about though, Queen.
Yeah, go ahead, Joe.
One is that playing at a fast pace depends on the rebound first, right? And Cat is perfectly capable of throwing that touchdown pass. That's one of the skill sets in his bag is to throw that long pass ahead. And if that's kind of his thing, get the rebound, look up and get that ball ahead. That's certainly something that's within his skill set without having him being, the flash. And the other thing that I would say is with Mitchell Robinson. What we saw in the Boston series, if you'll remember, is he creates gravity and space on his own because teams are so concerned about him on the offensive glass, right? It's not that he's this, shooter or anything, but he's such a good offensive rebounder that Boston kind of was glued to him a little bit, even one or two guys once that shot went up, right? And so he does have a gravity in his own way, not in the same way as a Yabusele or someone who's or even Deuce, who are natural 3-point shooters. But I do think that Mitch is so unique in his offensive rebounding that he actually, without being a plus offensive player, does create gravity just by his ability to hit the offensive glass so effectively.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I just feel like there's so much rhetoric around pace and space. I would like to hear more rhetoric offensively anyway around versatility, because the Knicks don't. There's some lineups the Knicks are going to put out there that's not going to be pace and space lineups, but that's we're hearing a lot of it. For me, I think is that you can do that sometimes, but I think the Knicks are going to have to play different ways, and they have the players. They have the players to do that. What about Jalen Brunson? Do you think, he said, and I think I don't have a video clip, but if I'm not mistaken, I do have. All right. So this is what he had to say, just basically on adapting. He said, "I'm very open to anything right now because everything's new and I just want to win. We've got to obviously be willing to adapt and be willing to change. If you want to win, you'll do it. It's that simple." Because I think this is going to be a change for him. I don't know if it's going to be as deep as when Phil Jackson had to convince Michael Jordan to buy into the triangle. I don't know if it's going to be, that deep, but this is a little different. One thing I will say is that Mike Brown has been very clear that basically he wants him fresh for the fourth quarter. In the fourth quarter, the ball will be in his hand. And shout out to GMO, Legion of Knicks, who pointed out that with Fox, his usage was, I don't know, 24% something in the first quarter, and every quarter it went up, and it was at 32% usage in the fourth quarter. So in no way do I think this is about Jalen Brunson not being himself. This is more about getting everybody involved, taking it easy, not necessarily taking it easy, but getting easier shots so that he is even more effective in the fourth quarter. But just thoughts on Jalen Brunson and how he'll have to adapt to what we think this offense is going to demand of him.
I think it's a true statement. I think if Jalen Brunson says something like this, I fully believe him. Cat had a similar quote. They asked him, would he rather play power forward or center? And he said he wants to win. Like, he doesn't care what position he plays. So just like Jalen Brunson, I think they're going to go in this with an open mind. If the offense doesn't look like it does last year, and Jalen Brunson won't have the ball in his hand pretty much 80% of the time in this offense, then I think, as long as we're winning, as long as he sees results on the court, I think he'll be fine.
Yeah. Anybody else have any comments on Jalen Brunson? And
I
don't know if this is a new role or just a new approach.
You could go,
I
Geoff.
think anytime everybody gets a chance to eat, people are happy, right? If everybody's getting their opportunity to score, if you're playing at a faster pace, you're getting more touches, people like that. So from that standpoint, and I think when Brunson is capable of playing that way, you remember when he played internationally, and he didn't score that much, but you saw him. I remember, Queen, you specifically saying, I didn't know he could make that pass, right? Like those kinds of things.
Yeah.
So he's certainly capable of doing that. And as far as Cat's concerned, like the Kings were the number one offense in the NBA with Domantas Sabonis as their 4/5. Is he that much different in build and physique than Towns? So if it can be done with Sabonis, I think it could certainly be done with Towns. And I think that there's actually a lot of analogousness, for lack of a better word. There's a lot of similarity between Fox and Sabonis and Brunson and Cat. But I would argue that we have the better shooters in both instances, in my opinion. So, in other words, so this may be the Kings offense on steroids, and the Kings offense was the best in the league. It has the potential. I'm not saying it's definitely going to be, but if everybody buys in, as you say, like there's no reason why everybody doesn't get more touches, better touches, and actually can score with fewer touches because they're getting better looks at the basket. In other words, if you give Jalen Brunson 4 wide open catch and shoot 3-point opportunities per game, he'd probably making at least 2 of them. You know what I mean? And that's 6 easy points as opposed to having to, dance and bob and weave and juke and fake 4 times and up and under and then, go to the foul line or something like that, and he's capable of doing that too. But one is a low effort, high probability play, and the other is high effort, high probability play. So that's a great way to save him for the fourth quarter.
Yeah. Delusional.
Yeah, I think JB would adjust. Even back in his college days when their March Madness runs, and they didn't have it, Dante had it going on. Then in certain instances with other players, he played as a unit as long as he's winning. So I think that's the situation here. As long as they're winning, he's a great 3-point shooter. He's a great catch and shoot 3-point shooter. So there's different ways to get buckets from Jalen Brunson. And he also stated that we're still going to rely on him on the fourth quarter, when it's game time. And kind of watching JB, he's usually a first and fourth for us during a dribble heavy time period. So I still think that with him being a third, fourth, and then occasionally second, he can find his ways, of getting 7 points a quarter, So I think he'll be fine. Now, would it affect his assist? Just a different thing.
Yeah, I think it's a fine line. Like to me, this is a very fine line between him getting easy shots, which I agree with, him playing off the ball more, which is what I want, getting others involved, which is what I want, but still being aggressive and assertive and keeping his foot on the defender's neck. So just finding that line between, Jalen being Jalen,
Right.
and that's it's not either or. I think there was a line where he can be both, where Jalen can be Jalen, and he could play off the ball, get easier shots, and get others involved, and be aggressive at the same time. And by that meaning in the same game. It's a dance. It's like figuring out each moment, each possession, what the team needs. Because what I don't want is, and I know people may disagree, I don't want an equal opportunity offense. I want an offense where your best player definitely at the end of the night has taken the most shots. I do think that now, if he's taking all the shots, then it becomes a negative. But I do think you help the other team when you have your best player just becoming one of many, and not really standing out and putting that pressure on the defense and making them react and make and making them react and double and things of that sort. So Mike Brown understands that. I think Brunson will figure out the cadence of, being a burner, being the scorer. What do we need right now? Getting others involved. And we've talked about this before, in terms of just getting better at reading. So I'm excited, about what we are about to see offensively. Now, I guess we can talk about this here because I think that whoever that fifth starter is gonna be, whether that's gonna be Mitch, whether that's gonna be Hart still, whether that's gonna be McBride. Um, I've been hearing some Yabusele Ajay. There was a show, I think it might have been, was it Locked On Knicks, and they were talking about Yabusele possibly being a starter, and I thought about you. I'm like, there's somebody else in the universe who's having this, um, who's having this thought. Does that fifth starter make a difference in terms of how Mike Brown wants to play? Is it more about the starter, or is it more about just how many how much how much of this particular lineup are we seeing, whether that's the starting lineup or it's deployed during the game? How much of it is about finishing and who finishes? Just your thoughts on the impact of that fifth starter, because to me, whoever that fifth starter gives us some insight into what the identity of this team is going to be, in my opinion, because those three guys just bring different things. Um, but yeah, your thoughts on whether or not that fifth starter or who it is changes how the Knicks play. Jerrell?
Um, well, the image that me and Ajay, at least this is the image that I think Ajay was talking about that I mentioned earlier, is that it looks like Mitchell Robinson might have been, coined as the fifth starter because of an image that was shown on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I saw that.
So if that's the case, if we're going to go with the Twin Towers, I'm all for it. Or if Josh Hart starts, I'm all for that too. I think one good thing about this offense, whether either one of them start, um, it just brings somebody good coming off the bench. I think they're both worthy of starting. It just depends on how we play. We obviously will play a lot faster when Josh is in the starting lineup, but having Mitch in the starting lineup, I think that bodes well for our defense. Delusional said we were going to be top 5. Mitch
Oh, he said
starting.
5. Oh, wow.
Yeah, he did. Look at.
Well, I said 10,
Oh,
but
okay.
we can keep moving up. I don't have no problem with that.
My bad. Well, at least top 10. Like, say just bottom top 10. Say we like 10. Between 7 and 10. But yeah, if we're going to be that good of a defense, then maybe Mitch should start. We all know what Mitch brings to the table. As long as he stays healthy, I think we're going to be a good team regardless of who that fifth starter is. But if Mitch is the person, then that means our defense is going to be a little bit better. I think offensively, I mean, it's not like Josh Hart is going to be scoring like 20 points a game. I still think he's going to get his points just off the bench.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Ajay? Or maybe let's just do it this way. Who do you want to be the fifth starter? Why or why not? Jerrell, let's go back to you real quick. Do you have a preference who you want to be the fifth starter? And it doesn't have to be out of those three. It could be anybody on the team. It could be Clarkson. If you feel like Clarkson would be better starting than coming off the bench, like, who do you think the fifth starter should be?
Definitely not Clarkson. But yeah, I really don't have a preference. But as long as it's between Mitch or Josh, I'll pick either one of those. Like, I don't think starting Deuce is an option. I don't think starting Yabusele is an option, at least not right now until we see him play more. Yeah, I don't really have a preference between the two. But if it is Mitch, I'm all for that because the defense will be better.
Yeah. Just briefly, your thoughts on why you wouldn't want to see McBride. Is it the size?
Yeah, the size. Both him and Brunson. Don't get me wrong, Deuce is a good defender, but both him and Brunson being in our backcourt, I'd rather Deuce just come off the bench.
Okay. All right. Ajay?
Preference. I think I want to see Mitch start. For what Jerrell mentioned, to help us out on the defense because we know what he brings. So which would, and it's probably an advantage to have Cat at the 4. We've seen him work that way before when he was with the Timberwolves, with Rudy Gobert. Not that, Mitch and Rudy Gobert, I feel, are not the same kind of players. There are a lot of similarities, but I think it could work, and I think it would work if we have that. If we have Mitch in the starting lineup. So, and again, for the defense that he brings, I think it'll reinforce that. So, I mean, I guess later we could look at what does that do to the bench if Mitch starts, because now you're taking away from the bench, but we can talk about that later.
Yeah. I forgot we did have a super chat, so let me get to that. Jason Benjamin, appreciate you. Teams have won chips with centers like Mitch, i.e. Kevin Looney with Warriors. He lost weight and is athletic. He controls pace as well with rebound defense. I don't think anybody is doubting whether we can win a chip with Mitch. I don't. That's not a concern of mine. Well, 2 years ago it was a concern before Cat got here, and he was our only center. But on this particular team with the offensive versatility, I'm not concerned about Mitch starting, because when teams, if the offense bogs down, we have answers. We have answers for that. So on this particular team, I'm not concerned. But I appreciate you for pointing that out. But I'm if I'm not mistaken, on them Golden State teams, they still had times when they would put Durant at center. They would have times when they would have Draymond there, so that they can have that passing and that fluidity. Even though Kevin Looney may have started, they had options to go to different lineups. Jeff?
Well, I think what you see is, I think it'll tell us a lot about what Mike Brown values depending on who he picks. Because the funny part about this is we're talking about 3 extremely different players, right? If rim protection is your primary concern, then Mitchell Robinson is the clear starter, right? He's the only one of those 3 who provides that, and he'll bolster your defense and he'll get a lot of offensive rebounds. So if those are your concerns, then Mitch is your guy. If you're concerned about the defensive glass and moving the ball at a rapid pace, then Josh Hart might be that guy, because he's a terrific rebounder, almost 10 a game last year. And so he provides that defensive glass, and he's also one of those players, if he gets the ball, he's looking to push it up quickly, so he can be a catalyst in that sense of the word. So maybe that's where you go. And then Deuce provides something different also, because with McBride, you're talking about our best point of attack defender, right? And so you are sacrificing rebounding without a doubt. In that lineup, other than Towns, there isn't a rebounder. That's definitely an issue. But your point of attack defense is going to be better, because you can put McBride on that person. It slides. It would slide Bridges over to a more comfortable slot. I think that more natural defensive spot for him, and then you can hide Jalen on whatever non-shooting wing that they have. You know what I mean? Just and kind of get away with it that way. So I guess it depends on what you value. To me, I value the rim protection, so I'm going to kind of lean on the side of Mitchell Robinson, although a lot of smart people, including Lee Escobedo, have made the case eloquently that Deuce should start. I understand those arguments, and I'm not going to disagree with them. The on-off numbers say that when Deuce and Jalen play together, it's not an issue, despite their lack of size. Sample size may be a little bit small, so there could be some statistical noise in there. You always have to be careful of that. And then, what we saw is Josh Hart in the starting 5. That was legitimately one of the worst starting 5s in the NBA from January on last year. So we know that was bad. But was that bad because of the way that they were employed? Or is it just that those 5 players don't play together well? And so it may be. And the other thing that concerns me is the splint on his hand, right? How much Josh Hart are we going to be able to get? That makes me wonder if he's going to spend a bunch of time on the end. I know he wants to play, and I know he's going to give it his effort and everything like that. But, if you have a splint on your hand, that's got to affect how you catch the ball, how you grab the ball, how you shoot the ball, all of those things. And if he can't do that effectively, is he the same player we had last year? Is he a guy you want to be giving that many minutes to if he can't perform at last year's level? And we'll see. Maybe that's not a concern, but I think it's at least got to be a little bit of one. And I would be ultra cautious with it at first because we definitely need him for the long haul. But I think it might end up being this, you might end up seeing Josh Hart back in that starting lineup, but having it look a lot different than it did a year ago. But we'll see.
Yeah, I think you make a good point before we get to Delusional about all three of them have the pros, have pros and cons. I'll just add this. On-off numbers have a lot to do with who you're on the court with and also schemes. So this is a totally different team. They're going to be totally different schemes. So in terms of just theoretically having a spacer out there definitely helps the offense. But in terms of the on-off numbers, whether that's going to hold true if Deuce is a full-time starter on this particular team with these with the offensive schemes they're going to play, who knows? The other thing I'll say about Josh Hart, and I know there's a good part of the fan base that's down on Josh Hart. Listen, Thibodeau didn't, and you guys know I'm a Thibodeau supporter. Things changed because I know Delusional said we were smoking offensively. He didn't use that word, but we were cooking offensively in the first half, and then things changed. Yeah, things changed when teams started putting their centers on Josh Hart, and so everybody is down on Josh Hart, like, oh, it's Josh Hart's fault because Josh Hart couldn't shoot the three. They were able to put their center on him. That's on Josh Hart. Oh my God, we just can't have this guy in the game at all, even though he had a career year statistically. About 16 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists a game. I think his playmaking for our team is underrated. But what I will say, with different schemes, and Thibodeau could have did this as well. Thibodeau could have schemed better when they put the center on Josh Hart, or Thibodeau could have took him out the game during those times when it became apparent and put Miles McBride or another shooter in. The offense did not have to tank. I think a lot of that was Tom Thibodeau not wanting to make an adjustment because the calculus in his mind was whatever he thought the other option would be worse than what was going on. But I think with if he decides he's going to keep Hart in the lineup, rest assured the schemes are going to be different. And if teams adjust to that by putting their center, Mike Brown is going to have an adjustment to,
to add to your point, Queen, how about attacking the mismatch on the other side? In other words, if you're doing that, then Cat has an advantage, right? He should have, like, if you're playing a center on a wing, Cat should have a big time advantage. So it's up to us to scheme and maneuver and get Cat the ball where he can exploit that mismatch. And then, and if you exploit that mismatch 2 or 3 trips down the court in a row, they're not going to stay in that defense very long, right?
Correct.
Nobody wants to get cooked. So I think that speaks to your point exactly, that we never kind of made that adjustment and said, okay, they made this adjustment. Let's use what this adjustment gives us, and that's Cat on a smaller player, and let him attack and get him going. And then all of a sudden, again, if it works on multiple possessions, all of a sudden, what do? You have to come out of it. You have to do something else.
Correct. And it was the lack of adjustment, in my opinion, and just staying with it. But Delusional, just who would you? Yeah, just whatever you want to add to the discussion.
I am 100%. Hold on, let me turn my mic up so everybody can hear now. I am 100% going with Mitch starting. I think that we're going to see a totally different Mitch on the offensive scheme wise. I think there will be post opportunities for Mitch. I don't think he's just going to be someone out there cutting screens and just flaring down for alley-oops. I really believe that there will be schemes for everyone else to be out and Mitch on a mismatch on a smaller guard, posting up, attacking, either just to get fouled, to get the team in foul trouble, or for him to actually get the dunks in. He's been working with our big man coach on the hook shots, the mini hook shots, left and right hand. We know that Mitch is versatile. We've seen Mitch on certain plays make his own adjustment to where he's out. He grabs the rebound, not the rebound. So on one of their out of bounds pass, Mitch always flares out to the ball. Then he turns over and usually hand it over to the wing that's cutting to him. How many times he make that option of him taking the ball himself and he's gotten to the rack? They probably only did it 3 times, but he scored each time. So that's the team, the defensive, not knowing like, okay, they're actually using Mitch. So if we use Mitch more, people will have to stay on Mitch. And then that would free everything up. So I think that's one of the elements of why Mitch will be pretty much starting. He's not going to play, back-to-back games. So we will see other lineups that's pretty much to play, especially when we play the double bigs. He's going to be there. Cleveland, he's going to be there. But then when we play smaller individuals, you can use a Josh Hart. You can use a Yabusele. So which is why, the versatility of this team is spectacular. So maybe Mitch start the beginning of the year. We see somebody else rolling or a different matchup. We bring that person in. I don't think Josh is going to start due to that finger injury. I'm gonna be quite honest. Everybody here probably played basketball before. Your shooting hand, it's very important, and that's his middle finger, which is probably the last part that touches the ball when you flick. So that's. And 3-pointer is going to be crucial. So I think him coming off the bench, being aggressive, and attacking the paint, that's always going to be there. But we needed his shooting, particularly for when, they put bigger forwards and centers on Josh and him not attacking or doing all that. So I think Mitch will definitely get that start. And then, of course, he's that first line of pick-and-roll defense where you want to ice it, or if we want to switch. You can't put Cat in that situation. We've seen plenty of times Cat getting cooked in the drop coverage or when he needs to come up and hedge. So I think that's why we would pretty much go with Mitch.
Yeah. I mean, I don't even know. I know I wouldn't start Deuce. I'm okay with Mitch at this point because I don't think Mitch. See, my concern is if Mitch is playing 36 minutes and Cat is playing 36 minutes, and every time Cat is on the floor, he's on the floor with Mitch, and he's not seeing time at the 5 so that we can potentially have more of a offensive flow out there. If Mitch is playing his regular 24 to 26 minutes a game, that means there's going to be enough time for Cat to be at center and for the Knicks to take advantage of those lineups. So for me, it's not even about who starts. It's more about the lineups. Like how many minutes is Cat spending at the center position? How many minutes is Cat and Mitchell Robinson playing together? Who's closing the games, right? You can have Brogdon start and he played 4 minutes in the first and third and you don't see him again. So it's not necessarily for me about the starting. It's about what lineups are getting the most time together and how is that helping us. So whoever starts, it's fine. My issue with Deuce, to me, there's a difference between us. It's a slight difference between a spread offense where everybody can shoot and a true 5-out offense. Because with a 5-out offense, you got 5 players who can pass, shoot, and drive, and that's not Deuce. So Deuce is good in terms of spacing. So if you're going to drive and you're going to kick, and he's a catching and he catches and shoot, I think that's great. That's great. But a true 5-out, everybody pass, shoots, cuts. I don't really see Deuce as a strong cutter. I don't see him as a strong playmaker. I don't see him. He can attack a closeout and pull up. I don't see him attacking, drawing the defense, hitting somebody. Like, I don't really see that as a quick part of his, as part of his process and part of his game right now. Now, things could have changed since the last time I saw him. So I feel that he does give you the shooting, he does give you the spacing, but the other stuff that you want in a 5-out offense, I don't think you're going to get that from Deuce. Josh Hart gives you those other things, but then he can't shoot, right? Like Josh Hart, you're going to get the cutting, you're going to get the secondary playmaking, you're going to get the rebound going the other way, but you're not going. So he has a lot of the 5-out skills, but shooting is a big part. Shooting is a big part of playing 5-out. So the fan base has been talking a lot about 5-out, but I don't think the Knicks can fill the lineup. Maybe if you put Clarkson, and maybe if there's a lineup where Clarkson is at the 2, where you can say this is a true 5-out. Everybody in this lineup right now can pass, shoot, and drive.
Or Brogdon.
How many lineups do the Knicks have like that? Yes, Geoff.
You can do Brogdon can do that too,
Brogdon
or Clarkson can fill that role. So, very fascinating, that end of the bench battle right now. And do we keep Brogdon and Shamet? Do we clear a roster spot to do that? Do we just keep one of them? And if so, which one is it? There's a lot that's fascinating there. But if Brogdon is healthy, and by all indications he is, it's going to be tough to keep him off the court, in my opinion. He does so many things so well. If he's shooting the 3 at his career averages, he's a terrific playmaker. He can play alongside Brunson. He can handle the minutes where Brunson is sitting down. So it gives you a lot of versatility. He's a much more efficient player than Clarkson. And so, I think either one of those guys you can do that. But remember, Clarkson's not a good 3-point shooter either.
That's true.
He's willing, but he is not nobody's going to mistake Clarkson for being Mr. Efficient from beyond the arc. He just has the ability to get his own shot in a variety of ways because he's so crafty off the dribble. But Clarkson is not an efficient scorer by any stretch of the imagination.
But does when I think about 5-out, I don't see Bridges as a sniper either.
No, but
he's good from the corners. Yeah, he's good from the corners. But I don't know. We shall see. I do want to shout out Lee, because Lee from Nick of Time, very fair and very solid critique of Deuce as a starter. He's excellent, but his finishing at the rim as well. And I know Lee is a big supporter of Deuce starting. And like I said, all 3 of those guys, there's pros and cons, right? You're giving up something, in my opinion. Delusional doesn't think we're giving up anything if you start Mitch. But I do think if any one of those guys, you're giving up something. That's just what it is. But one of the things we didn't talk about when it came to Deuce is that the gravity that he has. And again, this is on last year's team with last year's lineups, last year's schemes. He had this. I think Fred Katz said this on one of his podcasts. He had the second most gravity on the team behind Karl Anthony Towns. So I'm not taking anything away from Deuce. I just think you need some other things other than the spacing and a 5-out. And yeah, we'll see. It's going to be interesting. I know the picture with Mitch with the starters, but Mike Brown said don't read anything into that. He'll be in white the next day. I don't know if he was or not, but it is interesting that he got the first look.
Well,
right?
Another
Whether it
thing
stays that way or not.
Which Deuce are we getting? Like Deuce from 2 years ago was a sniper. Like his shooting percentages from 2 seasons ago were outstanding, and they plummeted a bunch last year. Like they went down not just from 2. His finishing at the rim is egregious, as said, but his 3-point shot went in the tank comparatively too. He went from shooting like 41% from 3 to like 36. Which is a massive drop off. And his effective field goal percentage went from like 57 down to 51 last year. Now, I don't know all the reasons for that. Maybe someone who, is more stat savvy than I am can say why that was happening. If it was just regression to the mean and 2 years ago was just a hot season, or he's not getting the same looks because he does have that more gravity. So he's not getting as many open shots. Well, maybe now that he's in with the starters, he does get those more open shots, and maybe his percentages, bounce back to what they were 2 years ago. I don't know, but I think that's worth exploring also, because if we get Deuce from last year, that's a completely different animal than Deuce from 2 years ago. But my thing about Deuce is he's a non-performer in the playoffs, and you've got guys in Clarkson and Brogdon who have shown in the past that they are good playoff players, and we haven't seen that out of McBride yet, in my opinion.
Yeah. I think another issue with McBride is not even a fault of his own, and that is he would be in a lineup with other poor rebounders. Like, I wouldn't even have a concern about if Bridges was a stout rebounder and OG was a stout rebounder. Cat, we know, is a stout rebounder. He's your two guard. If he's not a great rebounder, so what? Now you talking about Bridges with his 0.5 rebounds a game. I'm exaggerating. OG with like 4 rebounds a game. And it's like, if you can't close out a possession, how you running? If you can't, if a team is getting second and third opportunities at the basket and you can't, what kind of defense are you going to have if you can't close out a possession? So that's going to be important as well. And if Mitchell Robinson starts, let's keep in mind, Mitchell Robinson is a better offensive rebounder than defensive rebounder. Now, he's gotten better over the past season or two with defensive rebound, but people are like, oh, he's averaging, he has 11 rebounds. He got 6 of them would be offensive rebounds. So we need Mitch also to get better defensively to help close out these possessions. Everybody's like, oh, he can help with the rebound. No, I'm talking defensive rebound. I need Mitch to get on those defensive boards. But in fairness to him, his defensive, rebounds have increased as a percentage of his total rebounds over the past year or so, and I need that to continue. The offensive rebounds is gravy. I love it. It helps. Snatches the heart out of another team, right? And you're getting second and third shot, but we can't be giving up the same thing on the other end. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. I know Geoff talked about Brogdon, so I was a little surprised about this. I think this was Tommy Bear.
Malcolm Brogdon and Landry Shamet. Malcolm Brogdon and Landry Shamet both signed deals with the intent and the plan for them both to be on the roster on opening night and this regular season. Brogdon, I'm told he's expected to play a key bench role in the rotation. Landry Shamet's
Wow. Was I the only one surprised to hear that?
If he's healthy, I'm not surprised. If he's healthy, he's a better player than all those guys. I mean,
so early. I guess I was surprised that was said so early, that the expectation already is that he's not only going to make the team, but he's going to be in the rotation. I thought it would play out a little bit more in training camp, and it probably will. It's just a report. But go ahead, Geoff, continue.
Yeah, I'm not surprised at all. I mean, it wasn't that he was buried in Washington last year, so I think a lot of last year you can take with a grain of salt, but he was really good in Boston the year before. I mean, I think isn't that the year he won Sixth Man of the Year when he was the 7th man for their team? I think it was. So, he's a really good player. He provides most of the skill set of what we need from our off guard. He's a good combo guard. He can shoot it. He's got decent size. He's not a bad defender. He can play alongside JB. He can run the point guard if JB is out. So if he's healthy, he provides a lot more of what this team needs than Deuce does. He provides a lot more than Clarkson does. And I think that he's just a natural fit and a really good piece to have because he's versatile. He can play both guard spots and he can play them both well.
So I take it you're pretty high on Brogdon.
Very high on him, and that maybe he's washed. I don't know if, and that's health is the key. But I think a healthy Brogdon is a steal at the vet min.
How many minutes do you foresee him? Would you guess? Would you give him? Like, would you play him exclusively behind Brunson, or would you find minutes for beside him as well?
No, I think he's got to be at 20 minutes a game. I think you play him the 10 to 12 minutes behind Brunson, and then you find a way to get him those extra, 8 to 10 minutes. Now, I don't know how that works. I wrote an article that came out today that's kind of talks about the Deuce Brogdon Clarkson conundrum, because there's not really enough minutes to go around for all three of them. And which one of them do you choose to be situational? All three deserve to play in the rotation. McBride got 20 minutes a game last year. I could see that number going down. Clarkson didn't come here to play 15 minutes. I can promise you that. So, and with Bridges and Brunson in front of them, you probably only have about 48 to 50 minutes to play with, and that's assuming that you even borrow some from the 3 spot, right? And so it's a good problem to have, but it certainly is a minutes crunch, and I'm I'll be interested to see how they resolve it.
Yeah, I mean, Mike Brown said he'll play 9.5, 10. Whoever that 9.5, 10 player is, they're not getting a lot of minutes. And if Brogdon is playing 20, because then whoever that 10th player is not gonna. There's not gonna be a lot of minutes left over. Jerrell, just thoughts on Brogdon, and it seems like they're gonna keep him, and it seems like he's gonna be in the rotation.
I personally haven't been that high on Brogdon lately, but I do hope Geoff is correct. I'm rooting for him. If he plays well for this team, I'm all for it. Yeah, I'm not really shocked that, it happened this fast if he's going to be in the rotation, simply because Tibbs isn't here anymore. Like, if Tibbs was still here, then I think it would be a little bit fast. But now that we have a clean slate with Mike Brown, I think everybody, I don't want to say everybody's equal, but I think he's equal to Clarkson when it comes to, whether he's one of Mike Brown guys or something like that. So I think all of them are an equal playing field. Like I said, I wasn't too high on Brogdon, but if he remains healthy and he could be a real solid backup for this team, I'm all for it.
It changes everything if he can. Like I wanted to see him in preseason, see him in training camp. Well, not see him in training. Hear about him in training camp. See him in preseason. Before to see what he has left. But listen, they've been practicing, they've been playing. Maybe the Knicks have seen enough already. But if he is healthy, he changes everything for the Knicks, because now you have not just somebody who could play point guard behind Brunson, but somebody who's an actual floor general. So it's not like, well, Deuce can do it a little bit and Clarkson can do it a little. No, you got a legitimate floor general now behind Brunson that can run that second team. And I don't know where he is defensively, though, in terms of him playing with Brunson. If he's still a solid, defender, Brunson can play off ball and not have a heart attack. You know how really freely be off the ball and not feel like he got to run back and get it. Let's see, because it changes everything if he's healthy. Ajay, then Delusional. Oh, go ahead, Jerrell. You want to say something?
I was going to just say real quick, I think it's 2 players that actually changed this team with the same type of aspect for what they do. I think it's Brogdon and Yabusele. Like, if Yabusele can actually play, like, he's, to be honest, now that I think about it, isn't he like the only power forward on this team? Like, real power forward?
I think OG is a power forward, but I know everybody disagrees with me. But
in today's NBA, yeah, I guess OG would be considered power forward, but I guess I'm old, so.
Well, if you're talking about Oakley, then no. He's
Right,
not.
right, right,
He's
right.
not a power forward.
Exactly. So I think if Yabusele actually can play and actually get a lot of minutes on this team, I think he completely changed this, like the makeup on this team. And if Brogdon could be a solid, like if Jeff said, if he doing 20 minutes a game and he actually can stay healthy for the majority of the season, then that is gravy for us. That's exactly what we needed.
Yeah, because I was just thinking he's so injury prone.
Right.
Maybe if we can just get 12 minutes behind Brunson and don't push him too much, we'll be all right.
Right.
Ajay, go ahead.
I just one more quick thing, and just
Yeah,
like
absolutely. Go ahead.
when it come to Jordan Clarkson, like he's like Jeff said, he didn't come here to play only 15 minutes. I think Deuce is going to be, the odd man out. Like in the past, when Jordan Clarkson was with Utah, I think he play like almost 30 minutes a game in like the past 4 or 5 years.
At least 25. At least 25, Jerrell.
I thought it was even more than that. Like he wasn't.
You're right.
He wasn't a starter, but he played more minutes than some of the starters did. So yeah, I don't think he came to. Like I know he was on the vet minimum and everything, but I don't think he came to the Knicks to not play. To be honest, like I think Deuce might be in a little bit of trouble, but we'll see.
And Shamit.
Oh, well, yeah, Shamit is. If Brogdon is playing 20 minutes a game, I don't see why we need Shamit at all. To be honest,
Yeah.
like I don't see why he would be even on the team. Like that really, it's kind of redundant. Like we've been saying, like we almost have too many guards, at least small ones.
Yeah. And we may. So do you think we're either gonna stagger to always keep an OG or Bridges in that second unit, or we're gonna be going 3-guard lineups? We're gonna have to play one of those guards at small forward.
Hopefully, it's staggered. I think the smart move is to stagger, but I think with the makeup of this team and how versatile we are, it could go either way, depending on who we're playing. I guess the matchups.
Yeah. Ajay, I know you're doing your work for tomorrow, but
No,
just your.
So first of all, I'm surprised that Malcolm Brogdon is on the team, because I always thought he didn't want to play for the Knicks, because it's not. There's always been rumors that he would, the Knicks should go after him, but he always seemed uninterested in playing for the Knicks. So I'm just glad he's on the team. But if somebody said that Shamit's not going to make the team, I think Shamit, if he makes the team, I think he probably will make the team, but he's not going to get to play a lot of minutes. Shamit is going to be situational, right? If he makes the team, and if Malcolm Brogdon is there, so he's going to be situational. In Malcolm Brogdon gets injured, God forbid. We know he can get injured real quick. So he's going to be like injury insurance, I think, and he's a very good option to have as a backup if one of those guys go down for a couple of weeks in the season. Shamit's not the bad guy to have. So no, but Malcolm Brogdon, like you said, Queen, he's an actual point guard who could run an offense. So, and who could be very efficient. I mean, listen, he's not washed
Historically, anyway.
He's not totally washed. And he's got some mileage, but I guess this is when his past injuries kind of play to our favor, because he doesn't have as much mileage as he should have had or could have had, because he's been sitting like a lot of these seasons. He's been missing a lot of games. So if
he's fresh.
So he should be fresh overall. So if he could
If
stay
he was
healthy,
he wouldn't have been available for the veterans minimum either, right? That's the only reason why we were able to get him in the first place. If Landry if Malcolm Brogdon is healthy, he gets more than a veteran minimum contract. I guarantee it.
Facts.
But he has that injury history, and that's part of the deal. And that's why, if healthy, that's an Empire State Building sized if. That's Mitchell Robinson if healthy. So you have to bake that into the cake too, I guess.
well, if he's healthy, and that's a good risk to take, because if he's healthy at that veterans minimum, that's like a great situation for this team. So, it's good to have him, and if he stays healthy, he's going to be like super helpful. And I think he's going to be healthy. Like every one of those guys who get injured, they have like one or two good seasons. I think it's about time Malcolm Brogdon have this one or two good seasons while he's with the Knicks.
And Mitchell Robinson as well.
And Mitchell
Like
Robinson.
yeah, like we really need that this year. We really do. Delusional?
Um,
Surprised by the
yeah, no,
report?
the Brogdon thing definitely was a surprise once I heard that on Shams. And instantly my mind goes with, okay, who's the odd individual out? People talking about getting rid of our, Kolick or Dadier. But then when you think of kind of position wise, and if he's going to make the team, he's going to get minutes. This is a player that might not be in his prime, but the injuries kind of set back. We got the number one ranked medical team in the league, so that
We
plays
gonna
a
need him.
role, and we definitely gonna need it. That plays a role. So, and like you said, he covers everything that we needed, last year with someone that can control a rock, deal with the tempos, 6'4", can assist, knock down the three. He was also great at catch and shoot. Sixth man of the year award winner. So like he's something that we fit. That'll be similar to when Rondo went to the Lakers in a sense. Late in his career and won them a chip. Just someone that's a smart player on the floor that can kind of dictate and make those adjustments. And with that, he needs to play, especially if he's healthy. If he's healthy, you have to. I'm sorry, Deuce, but you kind of that oddball out. And us as Knicks fans, we grew up with Deuce on our team, so that's tough to see that. Who's out? Are we gonna? And the most valuable piece besides probably Dadier is Deuce. And that's a higher value that he has, which I think is $4 million. You get rid of that $4 million, you can clearly cut and cut that salary off and bring in those guys. But then it frees up more money for next year as well when you got to think about them making moves for next year. So it's a tough situation for them. But if Brogdon is healthy, I'm giving him 20, just like Geoff. I might give him more, to be honest with you. He might get that 2 spot only because of what this guy can bring. His Milwaukee years was spectacular. This like he's a proven guy. And it's still a guard league to a certain extent with creating and getting to the basket and setting up others. He's a better point guard than JB when you think about it. So that's something you need coming up from a backup perspective. And I mean, point guard. This is mentally. This is setting up. This is complete.
Yeah. No, we get it.
You gotta let chat know. You gotta let chat know. I don't know if for basketball you get it, but tomatoes will start popping up on the screen. But so yeah, I don't know how it's gonna work, to be honest with you. And when we are placed in situations like this, Randall is gone, RJ is gone. These players that we like are gone, but the team get better. So we'll see what happens. But I think if Brogdon is healthy, that man is not wearing a burgundy shirt. He's gonna be wearing that white one.
And if this was the Brogdon of, I don't know, 3 years ago, he might be starting next to he might be starting next to Brunson, right? I mean, if we're talking about, because he was a solid defender, 3-point. I mean, he would have been great in his prime next to Brunson. But oh well.
Hold on, let's pull up them chats though, because I know chat going in right now. Let's
they are. I want to get to the super chat first. Paris Doug, it's been a long while. Hope everything is good with you and yours. Welcome back to the show. So important to have guys who can play make for our other scorers away from JB being involved. That's what Brogdon can do. Deuce is good, but he's limited. Okay. All right. Okay. East Blue Drew, Deuce is dangerous player to just give to another team. He is that impactful. Okay. All right. J Brony _Z. Hope I got that right. Y'all are forgetting that Brogdon is 32 and hasn't played over 70 games since his rookie season. I'd hope for 50 games from him this season and 15 minutes per game. So in other words, bring it down. That's what you're trying to tell us. Bring it down.
Well, Queen,
Luke's
making the case that he's still fresh. He doesn't have a lot of mileage on him legs because he hasn't been playing.
Luke Skywalker visions Brogdon is a situational player. Come on, son. I mean, well, oh, you mean situational meaning not even in the rotation? Oh, okay, okay. I was about to say, yeah, I'm thinking role player, but situational. Okay. Kerry Cox. Shout out to Kerry Cox. Appreciate you. Mo Cheeks really needs to work with McBride. Fifth row Mo ain't coming out of his seat.
Look, coach is more involved this year, so you never know.
I don't want Mo Cheeks working with nobody on this team, man. I'm not a big Mo Cheeks fan. That's just me.
Queen, you don't think they moved him like he close, like maybe third row Mo now, like?
But again, with Mike Brown, you know, the coaches will be more involved. So who knows?
No, but seriously, like if you didn't know Mo Cheeks' face, you might think he's like a season ticket holder. He's like, oh, he always behind the bench.
East Blue Drew Deuce not going nowhere. Listen, we said the same thing about Randall. We said the same thing about, I don't know if we said the same thing. Some people said the same thing about RJ. Listen, if Randall can go, anybody can go.
We certainly said the same thing about DiVincenzo, right?
Yeah, if we can ever get DiVincenzo back, man.
Some people said that about RJ.
Some people said that about RJ. Yep.
Which one?
I was
like
not
he's not leaving, or if we could have him back, because Queens both.
Both.
Oh, man.
Yeah, and Luke Skywalker said Brogdon is totally washed. Kerry Cox, if Shamet stays, Pacome is gone. Yeah, I mean, I agree that we might need some injury protection, so we can't just be like, oh, you know, shuttling people off. We do need some injury, protection. So it's going to be interesting to see the decisions that are made. What about Huck Porty? Because, well, real quick, who's your 9 or 10? You go at 9 or 10, Jerrell. Who's your? It doesn't have to be, you know, this is starting, but who's your 9? Let's just say Josh Hart is. Let's just say Mitch is starting. Let's say Mitch is starting. Who's coming off the bench for you? 4 or 5 that's coming off the bench.
Yabusele, Josh Hart, Brogdon, and Clarkson. That'll have to be the 9.
For sure. And if Deuce does play, I'm not sure how many. Whoever's the 10th guy, I'm not sure how many minutes that's going to be. Ajay, do you have the same?
I was going to say, I would almost want Huck Porty to be the 10th guy, not Deuce, just because of need another big. Like, especially with the foul trouble that our bigs get into already. Preferably Cat. You know, I think Huck Porty is going to get minutes on this team.
If you start a double big, unless Yabusele is going to be the guy that's coming in, but you're right.
Unless Yabusele is going to like solidify, like he's going to play a lot of minutes, being the backup 4 and 5 sometimes, I think Huck Porty has to play. He'll have to, at least during the season. He might not play like, you know, once the season first start, but as the season goes along, he's going to play a lot of minutes on this team.
And not just foul trouble, just injuries too. I mean, we were fortunate with Towns last year.
Yep, very fortunate. Like, I was shocked. I didn't want to say nothing as the season was going on between him and OG.
Too.
Him and OG. You know? I was completely shocked. They, you know, clean bill of health all. I wouldn't say a clean bill of health. They had like knick-knack injuries, but not compared to like losing 20 to 30 games a season sometimes. Like, we were very lucky when it came to that.
Yep. So you have Huck Porty as the 10th as the 10th guy. Ajay, Mitch is starting. Who's your 4? Or I know Ajay got 6 coming off the bench. He got 6 coming off.
No, well, I wish I no. So wait, so all right, Mitch is starting. So that means
Yeah.
who's left? That Yabusele, Josh Hart, Jordan Clarkson, Deuce McBride, Brogdon.
Shamit.
You said
That's
9 or
10.
10.
No, that's 10, right?
Right.
Now you have Shamit and Hawk Party. So
Mhm.
I think that 9th guy, Queen, is going to depend on who we playing and the foul situation, like Jerrell mentioned. So you may not see Malcolm Brogdon every game, you know, or it may be a situation where you need a big man, you know, if there's a foul problem, foul issue, or if you play in a big team where it depends on what you need. You need an extra big body in there, extra rebounded, something where it may not be. Brogdon may not see a lot of minutes on a certain game. I'm hoping Mike Brown is flexible that way, because that's not something we've seen previously, because we had like at the 3-minute mark, this guy comes on and this guy goes on. Like, no, I want to see that flexibility of, depending on what team, like who the opponent is, that will kind of determine what the team needs at that time. You have the flexibility of having different substitution patterns. So I'm hoping Mike Brown does that.
I do think there's a fine line, though, between just having different lineups depending on who, like continuity matters as well, right? So I do think there are times when you can deviate from that, but you have to have the continuity first. I don't think it could be, well, Monday we're playing the Pacers, so we're going to do this. Wednesday we're playing this one, so we're going to. I do think continuity matters, but yes, once you do have that, absolutely, you can switch it up a little bit. But I don't think it's just where nobody knows what their minutes is going to be from game to game, because it's all going to depend on the opponent. You got to also set the tone as well, so I can see that happening with the 10th guy. I think that 9th guy is kind of set. I think that the top 9 are going to play every night. I think that 10th guy, there might be some wiggle room, but we'll see. We'll see. Mike Brown did say something that was similar to Thibodeau, in the sense that through the course of the season, you're going to use everybody, at one point or another. Jeff?
Well, I think that unless Mitch or Cat is hurt, they're pretty comfortable with rolling out a big man rotation that's Mitch, Cat, OG, and Yabusele. I think those will be the 4. I don't think you'll see Huck Porty in that mix at all. You may see Josh Hart at the 4 some also. So I'm going to go with Josh Hart. I'm going to go with Yabusele, Clarkson. I guess Brogdon would be there, and then Deuce if we had a 10th guy. But I really think Deuce is the odd man out. I really do. Assuming that all those guys are healthy. Now, as you said, throughout the season, we know Brogdon gets hurt and misses time. We know Clarkson is out and misses time. So Deuce would probably get his shot. But I think just as far as the pecking order is concerned and what these players have shown in their NBA careers, he's closer. He and Huck Porty are on the outside situational in comparison to those other players. All things being equal, at their best. We know that's not always – like, it could be like Luke Skywalker said, maybe Brogdon is washed, in which case it's Deuce and Brogdon is situational, right? That's entirely possible. I haven't seen the guy play. I have no idea what he's going to look like. Clarkson, if he's healthy, is going to be getting minutes. I don't think there's any question to that. Hart, as long as he's healthy, he's going to play. But again, he's starting the season with a splint on his finger. I think that's a bad sign. I think you got to bank on him missing some time. We've already heard that Mitch probably not playing second night of back-to-back, so that means Huck Porty will get on those opportunities. Will probably get some at least reserve minutes at the 5 behind Towns, I would think, because I don't really trust Yabusele at the 5, and I don't really trust Anunoby at the 5 either. I think both of those guys are more natural fours, and I think OG can slide to the 3 as well. Did Philly play Yabusele at the 5 last year? Does anybody know?
They did. Yeah.
They did?
Big bulk, yeah.
Yeah, a lot, because he was the backup. He started at the 5, if I'm not mistaken, whenever Embiid was injured, which was all the time.
Well, so there you go. So that leads me to believe that Huckporty is even more situational. If they can trust him at the 5, then he and OG and Mitch, and then and with Cat, that'll work itself out. But injuries obviously change the equation. But I think that those are your main 4 moving forward, and then the rest is just those backcourt guys.
Delusional.
Yeah, I agree with Jeff's lineup 100%. And also state that a lot of these guys are going to be, I don't want to have a political answer, but there's back-to-back certain guys are going to play. But I also think that is going to be situational with team, though, Queen. I know you said you might not agree with that aspect, but I truly think that if we're playing Indy on certain nights, that they play heavy guard play. We're going to have multiple guards out there, 3 guards out there running, against the other smalls. And then, of course, when we're playing Cleveland, who kind of runs the double big, we're going to have to match up with bigger lineups. I truly think that he's going to utilize that. The starters will stay the same, so that's where we get our consistency from. But the bench, I think it's easy to pluck, because you got guys that you can pick and play from. Like one night you might need 3-point shooting, you could put in this person. One night you need that, you could put it in. So some nights Clarkson will play 30 plus minutes if he got it going and it's flowing, and it might be vice versa. He might not play but 20 minutes because somebody else got it going. So I think our mindset need to be that this is a championship window for us. I don't want to say year, but a championship window. We can't focus on, I want to get more minutes. No, we have to sacrifice. Let's put that goal together and to win. And the system that he brings in, I believe it's to facilitate for the team. So everybody should possibly get some enjoyment with playing and want to be out there, but then also probably will be tired from constantly running fast pace and play defense. So guys going to want to sit and get some breather here and there. So I think that starting 5 would be good, and the bench as well with Geoff.
Yeah, I 2 things. One, let's not always assume that we have to match up with the other team. They got to match up with us too. So we don't always have, if they're playing a double big, we don't always have to go double big. If we go small, they got to match up with us too. Now I could see now if so for me, I don't want to automatic, oh my God, they big, we automatically have to go big. No, we gonna run our same rotation. However, if they start getting the best of us, then then we're gonna have to match it. Because if you're playing small, maybe you get the best of them. Right? Maybe you're beating their guys up the court and scoring. Maybe you're getting them in foul trouble. Maybe you got a big out there trying to guard a Yabusele or trying to guard a Hart, and they can't do it, and now they have to make a change. So what I'm saying is I wouldn't automatically just assume that we have to make a change depending on lineups. However, if they busting us up, we can. Right? We can. The second thing I would say is I think if you're starting Mitch and Towns, I think Hawkporty will probably get more minutes than we think. So I agree. I think Brogdon, Clarkson, Yabusele, I'm missing somebody, and Hart. Yeah, I just don't see that changing at all. But that 10th spot, I think is sometimes it won't even be used. I do think there will be times when he will go 9, or he said 9.5. And what that means to me is that 10th guy is getting like 4 minutes or 5 minutes. That's what 9.5 means to me. And even if he goes 10, how much is the 10th guy? How many minutes is the 10th guy playing? 12? 15? I don't even see 15 out of number 10. 12? So to me, that 10th guy could be either Deuce or Hawkporty, depending on what the team needs that game. But that 9 is strong, and I don't think that 9 is except.
Wait, did you have Deuce in your 9?
No.
I didn't.
No. Okay.
I had Deuce and Huckporty is split in 10.
Oh yeah, for the 10. Correct. Gotcha.
It's split in 10. That's how I have it. Kerry Cox said about 8 minutes for the 10th guy. You know, even if you bring, like, we're gonna bring. I mean, first of all, we believe that last year everybody was playing 40 minutes. That wasn't the case. But even if you bring those who were playing 38 minutes down to 35, you're only shaving off 3. You're only shaving off like 3 minutes. It's still not enough to get that 10th guy 15 minutes. You know? So it's gonna be interesting.
Hey Steph, I'm about to head out.
Yes. I appreciate you staying longer than you said you would, and we actually going to close it out. I have some show announcements to get some last words. We're going to close it out. Yes.
It's all good. But just first, before I leave, I had to look up Yabusele's stats because of what Geoff said. He actually did start 43 games last year and played 27 minutes a game. So I don't think he came here not to play either, just like Clarkson. So I think he's definitely going to get minutes.
Yeah.
I don't like him at the 5. Like, I agree with Geoff. I don't really like him at the 5 either, but he did, start because of, like you said, Embiid was hurt all the time. Freezy, what's good, bro?
Hey, don't run now, boss.
No.
Don't run now, boss. No, hell no. No, don't run now.
Man, don't talk about my Giants before I leave, Freezy.
They ain't worth talking about, bro.
Okay. Thank you.
Ouch.
I agree with you though, but thank you.
I just from a Bears fan because my Bears ain't worth talking about either.
I believe that also.
Breezy, what's going on?
Salute, man. Thank y'all, man. For Queen, thank you for allowing me to be here. I've been meaning to kind of jump on, but I had so much stuff going on. Man, I heard y'all talking, man. And this conversation is fascinating. It's like I was trying to get on, and then I stopped and started listening, and I'm like, "Oh man, I'm trying to jump on." And I'm yeah.
What's your thoughts? What's your thoughts on what we've been talking about?
The minutes thing, like Mike Brown said, I think it really we may put too much importance on it because over the course of an 82 game schedule, I think everybody's gonna get their fair share of minutes. In terms of guys and roles, I legitimately listened and tuned in too much to what the guys were saying, and to be honest with you, I probably over evaluated what they were saying. It was just basketball talk, but I was starving for Knicks talk for so long that I just turned a mountain from a molehill. You know what I'm saying? Like just some of the stuff. I was so excited just to see them back in jerseys and stuff. I'm like, oh my God, man, such and such got the gray jersey on today, and such got the blue jersey on. So it was like, oh, all the fangirl stuff or fan person stuff or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I got caught up in that. So yeah.
Who's starting for you? And who's coming off the bench? Are you playing 9, 10? Who's coming?
Why you always put me on the spot?
Listen, this is what we was talking about.
As soon as I say it's going to be like 3 more hours of conversation, because I know Ajay is just itching. Like whoever he say, I'm just gonna go across his head, right? So I'm gonna say this. And it's going to sound like clickbait, whatever. I think your starter is Malcolm Brogdon, right? But not in a sense of Malcolm Brogdon's going to play 31 minutes a game. I think he's going to play those Elfrid Payton starter point guard minutes. Where you remember when Elfrid Payton was the starter for Tibbs? And I think he played, he didn't play a lot of minutes. He started the game. And then he started the second half. But to close, but for the meat of the game, you saw Derrick Rose and Alec Burks and others that were those guards off the bench that came in to play with. So I think that may be, to me, that's the smart play, right? Get Brock, have them start games, and then that way you can get off on the right foot. Because I don't know if y'all noticed this towards the end of the season last year, but teams would come out and jump out on a lead on us, and we would have to reel them back in by halftime. And then after halftime, they would jump out to another lead, kind of, and then we would have to reel them back in and then blow them out, especially like the Charlottes, the Wizards, the teams like that just had that young player energy, whatever. And so I think you use Malcolm Brogdon in the best sense of the word as starter, because starter doesn't mean finisher. Starter means absolutely that. Start us, help get us out on the right foot. You don't get to see any of those exotic defenses. That way, Jalen Brunson doesn't get overworked or taxed during the course of a game. That way, you need Jalen Brunson at the end of a game to be Jalen Iverson. He has fresher legs, things of that sort. Guys that are cutting. Now you have two skilled guards on the floor that can hit cutters and create movement without the ball. So if Brunson is on one side, running one side of the floor, Brogdon is on the back side of that floor, telling people when to cut, when to go. No, don't go, directing traffic on the second side. It's like having a pilot and air traffic controller at the same time. I think we've been missing that over the past however many years. Now, I know that's not the popular take, because the popular take is, have it either be Josh or Mitchell Robinson. In my basketball opinion, you have a glut of guards on the bench if you don't start Brogdon, to a point where you're going to have Deuce, Clarkson, Brogdon, Josh Hart, possibly Shamet, and others. And then you're thinking like, well, did I make all this hubbub about bringing these guys in, and now they're not even playing? Right? Like there was a rumor going around like the Knicks may trade Pacom Dadier or Tyler Kolek in order to make sure they have room to sign Landry Shamet. But if you don't start Brogdon, right, then Landry Shamet can't play. So what did you move Pacom Dadier and Tyler Kolek for if the guy you moved them for to create a roster spot is not going to play? You could have just kept those guys and then have them grow in blah, blah, blah. So,
right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I had a follow-up question.
That's the
No, that's fine. I mean, I did mention it if Brogdon was like 3 years back, like 3-4 years, in his prime. I thought he would be perfect next to Brunson. Any concern though about what that defense would look like? I'm not sure what Brogdon is like defensively now. That then you would still have Cat at the 5.
I think
you were the one, meet your top 10 defense brother over here, Delusional, dropped that bomb last week as well.
Yeah.
You were the one talking about the Knicks having a top 10 defense as well.
Top 4, maybe top 2.
Yeah, I didn't say that, but I would love that.
But here's why. The reason why Karl-Anthony Towns gets attacked in the pick and roll and at the rim is because the point of attack defense is your wing player, right? You put Brogdon in the game. Now you're not worried about putting your wing defender on the other team's primary initiator. Now your wing defender can be in his best role, and that's guarding wings. Right now, OG, Brogdon, and Bridges can all switch. When you start others, Bridges has to be your point of attack defender, and you neutralize what he is great at. So he goes from being excellent at one thing to serviceable at this other thing just because of the lineup that you put in. And then Knicks fans are frustrated, like, man, we brought him in here because his reputation was he was an excellent defender. Well, he was that when he was doing what comes natural. But when you have him guarding John Morant or whoever, you neutralize his superpower. But when you have Malcolm Brogdon and Brogdon's only going to play 18 minutes, right? You know what I'm saying? 18 minutes, probably maybe 8, 9, 10 in each half. And you have a Spry Deuce coming off the bench and a Landry Shamet and a Jordan Clarkson. Now you have this thing where you can use all of your pieces, all of them. Now, Ariel Horty is going to suffer because no modern NBA coach is going to play 4 big men, especially if 2 of them don't start. Right? You got to be, if you play 4 big men, 2 of them have to start together, because you're not going to play a second unit with 3 big men on it. Right? So Porty may suffer, right? But at the same time, this is one of those seasons where the Knicks are not saying it's championship or bust, but the fans have a sense that this season is a championship season. And so how do you best go out in a championship season? You get off to a good start, and then that way, when you get ahead in the standings, then you can rest guys and keep them healthy. But if you struggle out the gate, all of the minutes that they play in all these tight games, like if you struggle out the gate and you're the 4th seed, now Malcolm Brogdon, Mitchell Robinson, OG Anunoby, and these guys that have injury histories are playing high leverage minutes because they're trying to climb in the standings, right? And then now you run the injury risk more, as opposed to playing this veteran out the gate, right? Getting off to a blazing fast hot start. And then when you rest Mitch on the night of a back-to-back and play Huck Porty, whether you win or lose that game, it doesn't matter, because you have a cushion in the standings. But if you're the 4 seed, 3 seed, say we're the 3 seed and the 6 seed is the Orlando Magic, do we want to be in that position of playing Orlando in the first round because we were not thinking about stacking these wins early, getting off to a hot start, maybe some point being 40-20 or 45-20, as opposed to 38-30 or something like that, and trying to get hot down the stretch? So that's the reason why I say start Malcolm Brogdon.
Yeah, interesting. I just wonder. Yeah, we'll see. I just don't know which Brogdon we're gonna get. If you talking about the Brogdon of 3 years ago, I'm all for it. I like, can this Brogdon guard a little bit? Like, we talking about him being a point of attack defender.
Yeah.
Navigating screens. I hope he don't blow his back out,
Well, remember with Tibbs is a guy that wanted to simplify defense. He wanted every man to stay with their man and not switch, right? But and so what that caused is guys running in the screens all night, and then in the 4th quarter we can't knock down shots because our legs are gone, because we're exerting so much energy fighting through screens and things of that sort. With Brogdon on the floor, there are going to be some times where Jalen Brunson is going to be drawn into a pick and roll to defend somebody. But unlike in years past where if Jalen Brunson was brought out on an island, right, and we were like, oh no, it's Brunson, and they're going to neutralize Cat. Now you got Bridges and OG and Brogdon in these situations where they can make up for, the weaknesses of 1 or 2 players that may not be ideal in a defensive situation.
Okay.
Geoff is mighty quiet, Geoff. That look you giving me, Geoff, is like, Geoff, don't write an article.
Talking about Karl-Anthony Towns in that configuration at all yet, and we need to cover for him too.
Right. But it depends on the
defense. That makes it awful difficult when you have to cover for 2 negative defensive players. It really makes it difficult, and I don't think Brogdon is at the level of defender at this point in his career that he can make that into a reality.
We also need to figure out the scheme that he wants to implement on defense. I know we've been stuck on Tibbs' scheme for the longest, so we definitely need to see what is their strong points on attacking the defense.
It's going to be switchable. It's going to be switchable, direct people away from the paint. That's what we need to remember. Switchable, direct people away from the paint. No paint penetration. That's what Mike Brown is going to want to do. And you've seen it, and you saw it in Cleveland, you saw it in Sacramento, where he wants long athletic defenders that's going to be able to stay in front of their man and direct them away from the paint. That's it. That's what and we just happen to have 2 of the best wing defenders in the game if they're used correctly. Malcolm Brogdon doesn't have to be 2019 Brogdon, right? He can be 2025 Brogdon, but we're just going to use that in less minutes. That's all it is. Give us what you got in 18 minutes, somewhere in that neighborhood.
Listen, I hear you. If that's the case, if Brogdon starts, if Mitch starts, Mikal Bridges is still going to be guarding the point of attack. Like, everybody is putting that on the coaching, but the reality is Bridges is guarding the point of attack because Jalen Brunson can't guard his matchup, and you have to hide him. So then then somebody else has to guard the opposing team's point guard.
Yeah.
Right. And that's going to be either Bridges or OG. So if you're starting Mitch, I don't see any change in Bridges in terms. Now, schematically, there might be changes in terms of maybe they switch, maybe they do some other things, but it's still going to be Mikal Bridges on the point guard if you starting Mitch. There's going to be no change. Say that again.
The difference is you had Brunson on the box, and he can cut off penetration by taking charges in the paint, right? You start Mitch, Brunson has to guard a wing player, right? Because you have Cat and Mitch at or around the rim. Now that means Brunson's on the perimeter. And there's a difference. Do I want Jalen Brunson guarding any scorer on the perimeter at all, any point during the season? I don't.
Question: did we trap a lot with Tibbs? Do we trap in a corner with certain things? So if Brunson is on a wing, hey man, let's trap that wing in a sense. Let's trap that, get the ball movement.
If you remember, to your point, if you remember, the only time Tom Thibodeau really trapped was in the early what do you call it? The in-season tournament games where point differential and all that stuff meant something. And if you remember, small guards were lining us up. So when they came across half court, he had Y'all remember Jericho Sims? Remember when Jericho Sims played minutes for us? He had Jericho sprinting out to help trap and then rotate 30 feet back to the rim, right? Instead of us switching. So to your point, if you ask, did we trap? We trapped, and it looked ridiculous. And in that type of, because you ask that man to trap on the ball, and when the ball goes away, you want him to sprint back to the rim 30 feet. Back to the rim. It is ridiculous.
I would never trap at the top of the key. Trapping for me is more of for wings, trapping in the corners and stuff like that. But
using the out of bounds line as another defender.
Correct.
Right. Yeah. So, but Queen, you asked me who my starter was. I think that makes the most basketball sense if you consider how you want to start your game, how you're gonna be able to space the floor and score early in games. Adding another 3-point shooter on the floor to keep exotic defenses off Brunson and keep these weird, stupid-looking double teams off a Cat where they put a small guy on Cat and bring a big guy in a zombie double team type thing. When you put three-point shooters on the floor, knowing how good OG and Bridges can shoot the three in the corner, it just makes the most sense as for you to start the game. And then when you're talking about how your bench is going to look, see how your bench is going to look is going to be key too, because are you really going to play Brogdon, Deuce, and Clarkson together with Josh Hart and like
Yabusele
and Yabusele? I mean, because you can't even that
means Mitch also.
Yeah, that because if
they're gonna stagger though. They're gonna stagger. I don't think it's gonna be like 5 starters, 5. You know, they'll stagger it.
Right.
My only concern about that, Freezy, is if Brogdon can't defend, he's gonna be worse than Bridges as a point of attack defender.
He does have a history of playing good point of attack defense, though.
He does,
That's not something Brunson has.
I have a history of running up and down the steps. That ain't happening anymore.
Me too. I used to be a star basketball player in New Jersey. That ain't happening no more. That was 40 years ago.
She's saying it's dog track time for Mr. Brogdon. She's turn that boy to glue.
I'm saying, can he still do it? Is my question. That's all. Can he still do it?
I think he's a.
We'll find out.
One of the things that we have to consider is how these tanking teams use veterans, right? How these tanking teams,
I agree with that.
these tanking teams have all these lottery picks, and they're banking that they can find or develop the next Giannis. And if a Malcolm Brogdon or whoever is in the way of that, if a Jordan Clarkson is in the way of them trying to find the next Giannis, they're not going to play these guys, not serious minutes. The slightest injury they get, they're going to sit out 35 games.
Yeah.
That's just what it is, just so those young
and
boys.
he was playing with Washington, so I agree with that.
Yeah. And before that, he was playing with Portland, right? And they were in the lottery because that's how they got Scoot Henderson, right? So it's like one of them things. Like I feel you about these guys that are in their early 30s, maybe playing the last 4 or 5 years on lottery teams. I think they have a ton of juice still left in the tank. The issue that I like, where you guys may talk about diminished skills, the thing that concerns me is not diminished skills. I think the rust issue from not playing high leverage basketball is maybe a thing that we have to talk about, be patient with, because I think because Jordan Clarkson hadn't played high leverage basketball in maybe ever, and Malcolm Brogdon hadn't played high leverage basketball since he left the Celtics.
Wait, you said Jordan Clarkson? No, don't forget he had the finals run with Cleveland. You know, playing great defense and he was playing knocking down 3-point shots. Just a hint in his career.
2 or 3 seasons.
Yeah, because Donovan Mitchell was there.
But I hope y'all understand my point though. Like,
like
I'm really concerned about rust. Like them being this whole thing of getting back into this super competitive thing. Because once after the All-Star break, about March 1st, these free agent signings that we have, they got to kick it into high gear. Because this team the team without them has already proven that they can get to the Eastern Conference Finals without them. These guys, the free agent signings, are coming in to help us get past the Eastern Conference Finals. So they have something to prove when we put the pedal to the metal. So that's my concern. That's what I'm talking about.
Freezy, don't you think though that just being with better players on the court and not having to have as much of a burden and responsibility? I mean, Jordan Clarkson was probably the best player on the court at times for Utah, and that's a tough situation and not one that's really suited to his skill set. And same with Malcolm Brogdon. Brogdon, I think you could probably argue if he was healthy, was maybe the best player on that Washington team last year. He didn't play enough to, but I'm just talking from a historical perspective. So if you're placed in a role where you're not having to carry a significant part of the load, just a role player, which is what those guys are being paid as, and that's what they are. But if you're playing in a role that fits your skill set, why is there this huge concern about rust? I would think that that you would have the opposite effect.
I think that. So my thinking is this: I want to be true to the conversation and be totally focused and dedicated to the point that's being made. And so when we do that, I can't be on both sides of the street at the same time. Like I can't think that Malcolm Brogdon and Jordan Clarkson in their early 30s off bad teams may be washed, and then at the same time think about what Geoff just said, which is the point that I agree with, right? So as a Knicks fan, I'm choosing one direction to think about these guys, right? That they were on these bad teams. They're professional basketball players. They got paid. They were looking to stay in the league with these teams, right? So they stay in the league with these teams, do the best they can do, play basketball, whatever. But the direction of those franchises didn't line up with the direction that these players want to go. These players want to win. And those franchises, Washington and Utah, they can't draw big time free agents to come in. They can't draw a Kevin Durant or LeBron. So they have to do homegrown talent. And that means playing the lottery a lot in order to see if they can hit the lottery and find them a John Wall or a Donovan Mitchell or someone like that in order to lift their franchise back up from the doldrums. So
Yeah.
It's gonna be interesting.
That's say it all.
Wait.
Yeah.
10 times, so that means she don't like the Brogdon thing.
No. I was gonna say, I wasn't able to find the clip, but Clarkson it was interesting when he was talking, and basically they know him as a shooter, and yeah, he's going to shoot.
Yeah.
But I kind of got the sense that he knows he has to lock in defensively. Like listening to him talk, like he knows that he has to lock in defensively. Like that's going to be expected of him. And so I'm always of the mind that even if you didn't do it elsewhere, if you have the physical tools and you're motivated enough, doesn't mean you can't do it in a new place. So let's see. Let's see if Jordan Clarkson, who has the physical tools to play defense, let's see if he buys into what Mike Brown is selling on the defensive end and actually does it. We saw Steph Curry become a little better under Steve Kerr. We saw
you saw Landry
there was
Shamet
the
turn
shoot.
into that last year.
You want to hear a stat
Yeah,
that'll blow
we
your
right.
mind?
We didn't
Landry
think.
Shamet turned into that last year. A dude that didn't care nothing about defense, come to New York
Yeah,
and understand his role and accept it.
You
yeah.
want to hear a
And
stat
and
that'll blow your mind?
one second, Jeff. Just give him because the shooting guard from Phoenix who played under Monty Williams and also
You talking
the
Devin
shoot
Booker?
Booker. All right, it
Okay.
escaped me. Yeah, Booker. His defense was better under Monty Williams, and Monty Williams was there in Phoenix because that was the expectation. I'm not gonna say he turned into an all world defender,
Nah.
but it was better. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Jeff.
Well, I find it interesting. It's not a be all end all stat by any stretch of the imagination. But did you know that Jordan Clarkson's career defensive rating is exactly the same as Deuce McBride's?
Wow.
Nice. That's what I'm talking about.
Wow, Jeff. Golly. Queen, where you find this dude Jeff from?
He just walked in the door.
He just walked in the door. Hey,
That was a stray dog that came through the dog door and then just stayed, and she didn't have the heart to kick me out.
Yeah, we gotta bring snacks every time Jeff come, bro.
Yeah.
But that was
This is gonna be
in Cleveland though. When he was
Say
there,
that again?
I said Clarkson. His key element in Cleveland with Braun when they made that run was him guarding Steph Curry and stuff. So he played some great defense. That's what kept him on the court.
Yeah. So, I mean, he's a little older now, but let's see, because if you get Clarkson playing defense, that helps. That really helps. All right. Any I wanted to make some show announcements. So we'll still be going every Thursday for the weekly show. I looked at the schedule, guys. I think maybe 4 or 5 Thursday games. So we won't have to move the weekly show around that much. Jeff and I will be doing lunchtime post game shows. So during your lunch break, the day after the Knicks play, tune in and hear what we have to say about the game. And I got to square away the day of the week. I thought I had it, but I'm going to have to, I thought about it after the conversation, but me and Anthony D, and you guys know Anthony D, friend of the show. He's been on a few times. We're going to do a show once a week, about an hour, called The Cutting Room Floor. And that was a show that I wanted to do by myself. I just never got it off the ground.
Right.
But this is where we'll talk about, storylines around the Knicks and even the broader NBA that never made it. Either it hasn't been talked about or it's been talked about a little bit, but because so much is going on during the season, you don't get an opportunity to do a deep dive. Right. So yeah, the Cutting Room Floor with me and Anthony D once a week. We're gonna start that not this Monday, but the Monday after, because this upcoming Monday we have a collaboration with Knick Time Show. So me and Jeff, as far as I know, will be on the show, and then I'll see, how many, what's the room like, and if it is all of us, I'll definitely would love to have Ajay and whoever else can make it. So yeah, really looking forward to the season coming up. Freezy, let them know where they can see you, Jeff, Delusional.
Y'all already know. just turn on YouTube and I'll be on.
That's a fact. That's a
just
fact.
go to YouTube and I'll be on somewhere. I should be on right now. Congratulations on all the shows, man. You know, I'm very emotionally invested in your success and the success of this channel. So I hope everything is exactly what you wanted it to be. You know what I'm saying? Which, however I can support, you know, I'm gonna do that. Right.
Sure.
In terms of Lawrence Tears, y'all already know what it is. If y'all want to talk about hoops and y'all want to argue, hey man, y'all know what y'all know what to go. So, but that's all I got. Thank you. I appreciate y'all having me too, by the way.
Of course, Freezy. And I got to meet Freezy and his wife live in person.
Let me tell. Oh, I got to. Y'all know how I am in person. I don't know if y'all know me. I probably met a bunch of y'all in person. Y'all know how I am, right? I'm like, I like to talk and you know. I see Queen Bee coming, yo. All the cars is stopping and. I'm like, what the fuck? Yo, I stopped my car in the middle. Queen Bee, am I lying? Did I not stop my car in the middle of the parking lot?
You did.
In the middle of the, like, yo, there she is. There she right there. People looking like, hey, man, I just want some eggs, bro. Nah, hold on for them eggs. Queen Bee is here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So she got to meet Miss man. She got to meet man, you know what I'm saying?
Shout out to Miss Mocha. Appreciate you.
Like, she still can't believe. She was like, yo, you know she athletic. I'm like, who you telling? Mo jealous. Like, man, golly, that lady is a legend, athletic, all this. I was like, hey, you telling me? I already know. But anyways, yeah, I got to meet South Carolina can honestly say they saw Uncle Freezy and Queen Bee in the same place at the same time.
Facts.
Them.
Yeah, great. Love you, Freezy. It was good. Always supporting me from the first day I said I was going to start my channel, calling me behind the scenes, what you doing, how you doing, you know, what's going on. Have you tried this? Have you tried that? I appreciate you. I love you. And just getting the opportunity to meet you and Miss Mocha was great, man. It was great.
Stay up, stay positive. Stay up, stay positive. Don't ever let this stuff get to you. It's fun. It's going to be fun.
Yeah. Because I definitely was like, oh, this is going to be a grind. I had to change my mindset up. I was definitely having those thoughts.
Yeah. Hey, y'all, I got to go.
Now she's a star, you know?
Yeah. Say that again, Jeff?
I said, and now you a star.
Yeah, well, that's because you, Ajay, Delusional, Jeff. I mean, not Jeff, Ajay, who's been here from the beginning.
No traffic stop for me though.
Me neither.
I ain't stopping traffic, Queen.
Yeah, it's the panel that makes the channel, and that's a fact. I appreciate you. You know, you all. I think. Oh man, what's his name? God. He from Nick's Man Cave. He was with us. I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago.
Oh.
Anyway, he'll be back next week.
Sweet.
I forgot. Yeah, he'll be back. He'll be back next week. Delusional, what you have going on?
I am actually about to start going live again. I'll probably do it this weekend. I haven't been going live. I've just been dropping stagnant videos here and there just to kind of get the feet wet because I've been, traveling here and there at work. And then I didn't want to conflict with like other people's shows because I'll be watching it. So I'm like, all right, let me find a window that makes sense. So either Friday or Thursday, Friday or Saturday or even Sunday. After service, I might try to drop something in there, but I'm definitely thinking about doing something tomorrow night, and get it going. But definitely, I want to thank everybody because y'all did get me to the 500 subscribe level that I was asking for, and I definitely got there. And that's definitely due to the good feedback and being on the show. Just I'm gonna try to definitely make it a habit to be here on Thursdays. But like I said, it's seasonal time period for me and for what I do for work.
When you can, Delusional. Yeah.
And so I'm definitely gonna make it my time to, even when I'm traveling, if I can, just hop in for 2 seconds, get my thoughts, and keep it pushing. But truly grateful for the entire family and you guys.
Yeah, I mean, listen, all of you guys up the level of the show, and that's a fact. And anybody out there, if you ever want to come on the show, just hit me in my DM, and it's okay. You know, it's okay to come on and join the conversation. You know. All right. Anyway, family,
until like the Incredible Hulk up there.
Yeah, exactly.
Look, it's good luck. We need it for the entire year. Entire year.
Yeah,
I'm a
if it goes gray, you gotta turn it back to
I'll
green,
tell you,
man.
Delusional, it's random. Now that you say that, next week I'm gonna have like I'm gonna be just like y'all, like nice color and everything. Not next week. I'm gonna try to figure out how to make it green. Just to drink.
Definitely. And don't forget, happily ever Klafter, please, everyone.
Yeah,
Thank
definitely.
you.
That link is in the description for Geoff's daily sports blog. Delusional Knick fans, his link is in the description as well. So hit that link. You can go right to his channel and subscribe. Jerrell, who every Tuesday night, 9 p.m. For all those us Giants fans. What is it? Die Hard Giants Live podcast. So that's every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Great show. You know, we had a lot to talk about. They made a quarterback change. So looking forward to that game on Sunday, and we'll talk about that next Tuesday. Shout out to King Scientist. I'm on location, as you can see, so no phone calls. I got to find a way to work the phone calls, and we be getting into it. I don't be wanting to stop and take a phone call, but I got to figure it out because
what about
Lord
Discord? Are you familiar with Discord?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
I've heard of it, and I think I even have a Discord account, but I've never used it to take phone calls. I always use the Rodecaster, and I don't have it with me. But yeah, and I think Geoff and I will be doing post games for the preseason, correct?
Yeah, whatever you need me. That sounds fun.
Yeah.
But wait, isn't the first preseason game this next Thursday?
Thursday at noon.
And
at noon, and then we have a show that night. We can just do post game then.
Yeah. We could do post game that night. That's true. I
think that'd be fun. I think that
fun.
would be a great show next week. Everybody will either be sky high. We're going at 82-0, 96-0, or the worst team ever. Fire Mike Brown. You're going to miss the playoffs, and everybody's better than us. Those are the only two reactions I expect
for a preseason game.
First preseason game.
First preseason game, right?
Preseason game is setting the tone, so we have to.
Look at Delusional. Yeah, I don't want to hear nothing. No playing around. Come correct. First playoff game. I play preseason game. I need this team to come correct.
I need to look pressing as soon as the ball tip. I need traps, pressing, we switching
140 to 91.
That's what I need.
Oh boy! Until next time. Shout out to the chat, the replay gang, the silent listeners. We appreciate you all. Until next time.
Sister, you one of a kind.
Yes.
Sister, it's time you shine. Don't
Where you at? Where you at?
Don't
Where you at? Where you at?
Don't